Hello, everyone. My name is Annie Gibbins, and I'm a business and life transformation specialist. I live in Sydney, Australia, and I offer coaching programs to women around the world who are wanting to take themselves from where they are to where they want to be. And I wanted to share with you today my journey. Navigating the pathway, a challenging pathway. I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a board director, and I'm also a business and life transformation coach, but it wasn't always that way, all right? Those stepping stones were challenging, and I navigated them around 5 children, including 2 sets of twins. So I wanted to share with you my story, hopefully as an inspiration, to be able to show you that seriously amazing things are possible, but you need to have a desire. You need to have a purpose, a plan. You need to be dedicated, consistent, and really, really tenacious in your desire to get to where you're wanting to be. All right. And sometimes there's a little bit of luck thrown in there as well. So when I was a young girl, I wanted to be a businesswoman. That actually was my heart's desire. And I love it that those desires that we have when we are younger are often fairly correctly placed, because before we get crushed by situations, we actually have a great confidence. Kids have confidence, right? They believe in amazing things. They believe in fairies. They believe in magic. They believe that all things are possible. And I think that's always a great place to start when reflecting on what do you deeply desire to be. And so I wanted to be a businesswoman. I thought businesswomen were super cool. They got to wear very nice clothes. They got to travel around, definitely be independent. They had that sense of freedom and confidence and all these factors that I wanted, and definitely money to be able to live a lifestyle that they wanted to have that sense of independence, and also to be able to choose to be philanthropic should they desire. So I loved all of those qualities. The problem was that I actually was raised in a household that didn't really support that. They sort of felt that, well, I didn't have the aptitude to be a businesswoman. I didn't have the financial headspace. I didn't have those qualities that they felt were required of a business person. And particularly that they encouraged me to be a nurse or a teacher, something that I could therefore be a good mum doing. And so that ended up being where I went. I became a registered nurse, and I was a very good nurse. But over a number of years, all of these desires started kicking in for me. That I was a nurse. I ended up becoming a head teacher of a nursing school after going back to university and doing a graduate diploma of education and then a master's of education. And as I was going through that pathway, I realized that, you know what? It's a shame I can't be a businesswoman, because I really love learning. I love the way teams work. I love the way leaders operate. I love looking at, organizational design and plans and how they grow and what their challenges are. And so this was always in my mindset, that I had a very curious nature. But I also had this default belief that what a shame it can't be me, because I really, really am attracted to it. And now, in amongst this time, just to make it more complicated, I married my childhood sweetheart at age 20. And then at age 23, I had twin boys. And at age 25, I had twin boy-girl. That's right. I had 4 kids, 2 sets of twins in 26 months. And then 6 years later, I had one more, just for good measure, a gorgeous baby girl. So I'm the beautiful mum of 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls, who are now 30, 28 and 21. And so while I was there at home with babies everywhere, breastfeeding, juggling, stopping squabbles, I was actually learning all of these skills, right? Conflict management, decision making, patience, organizational management, your household, this sort of thing. I'm talking army level training, and learning skills as a young mum. And during this time, I also navigated the desire to go, well, how can I also, as well as being a nurse, become a manager? And so in that time, that was when I went back to uni and I did night classes until I became a head teacher of nursing. I had a master's of education. So that journey was really challenging. And did I think at that stage I would end up being a global women's empowerment coach? No. Did I think I would be CEO of a couple of companies and sit on a couple of boards? No. But what did I believe? I believed that I was more. I believed that I had the potential to be more. I had the potential to achieve more. I definitely had the potential to earn more because I'm going to have to pay for this tribe of children. And I certainly desire a bit more than camping in a tent for my holidays. And so it was a really interesting thing that activated in me that although I had negative beliefs, limited belief systems, and I had a distorted perspective on who I could be, I also knew who I wanted to be should I have that opportunity. And I also knew that it was helpful if I activated my curiosity, because my curiosity allowed me to go, well, even though I can't do this amazing thing, what if I could do a little bit of this? What if I could go to night school and do a graduate diploma and become a nursing teacher? What if after I became a nursing teacher and I had a few years of experience, I could do a master's of education and becoming a nursing teacher manager? All right. So as stepping stones, and although it was an unusual journey to a CEO, how many of us have had unusual journeys, right? Not all of us have had the dream situation that fresh out of school, we did an MBA, went into business, everything was great, and, life's hunky-dory. So my journey was different, but along the way, I learned incredible skills. I ran play groups and school groups. I learned to be a teacher in nursing. I then learned to be a manager of nursing. I had a very big department and had $4 million of operations. I had a lot of staff, a lot of part-timers, and I learned a lot about people, and I learned about leadership, and I learned about old-fashioned rules of seniority and also merit-based systems. And it was a really fascinating time and in a way, it was a good thing because I just enjoyed where I was and thought, isn't this amazing? Like, this is probably the best I'm ever going to do. And I was actually like, that's pretty cool. I've achieved a lot of things for a mum of 2 sets of twins, right? And so after I'd done that for a while, I then ended up making a very big decision while I had the dream job, apparently, at the nursing school being head teacher, to then take up a job with the Orthopaedic Surgeons of Australia. And they wanted a national manager. And at that time, they wanted an educationalist health provider who understood the healthcare system and would also get on with, primarily male orthopedic surgeons. And so I'm like, that's got to be me, right? So I applied. Now, everybody I knew thought it was crazy. I, of course, told everybody. Other people don't. I obviously didn't mind embarrassing myself. And so I did. I applied and I told everyone, I'm going to become a national manager. I think I've got some good skills and I'm going to give it a go. And I've got my Masters of Education now and I've got a few years of experience and I'm feeling confident in the way I'm developing as a leader and I'm going to do that. And seriously, have you had that moment that everyone goes, really? It's almost like, are you crazy? One, I had all sorts of comments. How are your children going to cope if you pick up a job that's got really challenging workload and potentially hours? Oh, that's a hard one for a mum. How are you going to cope working with so many men, very big, confident men? Yeah, that's the point. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to cope. How am I going to cope when I don't understand all the requirements of the role when you're the next level up and you haven't gone and done business qualifications, leadership training, all these other things? And so it's really easy. I remember struggling in those moments going, oh, wow, those challenges will be difficult. But my curiosity once again kicked in and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. What's the worst thing? One, I can apply and I don't even get an interview. I could apply and I'll have the experience of the interview process. I might even get it. And of course, I ended up getting it. And I stayed there for a number of years and I had the most amazing experience. And did I feel like an imposter the first few weeks? Yes, absolutely. What if they think, what if they find out I don't need this or I don't need that? But you know what? The world didn't fall down. I learned new skills, I grew, I flourished, I asked questions, and it was a tremendous time working collaboratively, not only with top specialists in Australia, but also internationally benchmarking their orthopedic surgeon training globally. And so it was an incredible opportunity that I'm so grateful for, and a big learning curve. And what I learned was I do love learning. I love actually being the weakest link in the room and finding out what do these other people know? How do they approach things? From disciplinary hearings from a doctor who's done the wrong thing to, top specialists who have always been the first in their class and then suddenly they're slipping in their grades. There were so many, conference management, event management. There were so many aspects of this role. And then after a few years, I had this moment. We had a new CEO arrive, and I kind of went, not too sure how he got the job. And instead of sort of just sitting in that, I had this moment of going, well, what if I could be a CEO? And then I'm like, and then once again, the naysayers. Annie, you can't be a CEO. You're not male. You haven't done an MBA. You haven't done this. You haven't done that. And I went, well, I wasn't supposed to get the last job. And so what do I need to do that's going to improve my circumstances? So I went off and did a few mini business courses, right? So definitely I did a director training, company director. So I knew what a board did and how they should operate and what the requirements were. I did Lean Six Sigma so I could learn about waste and approaching businesses in an efficient and effective way, and other small courses like that. And then I applied for a role, once again, a boutique role, which was with the Australasian Society for Ultrasound Medicine. Now, when I applied for this job as the CEO, once again, who were they looking for? They were looking for a health educationalist CEO who was going to help them take their training to their organisation to the much higher level, to get it accredited, to be able to run training that would be highly regarded and more prestigious in their industry. And so, once again, I went for the application. I applied. Everyone said, definitely won't get it. They're almost laughing at me. And I said, well, I'm going to start treating it like a game. What's the worst thing? Maybe I won't get it right. Anyway, so I prepped my heart out. I went and surveyed everyone who else was a CEO that I knew. I went and, did everything about ultrasound and the website and checked out so many aspects of this business. I prepared. I even went to the interview with a preparation of what I would do in their first 100 days. Apparently, it was very impressive and very passionate. And anyway, I ended up getting that role and I stayed there for 5 years. And once again, did the anxiety kick in? Yes. Did imposter syndrome kick in? Yes. Was there a much higher demand on my level of knowledge, skills, and attributes? Hell yeah. Absolutely. But it didn't dampen me. It actually made me think, I've got to learn these skills. For me to be a businesswoman, I need to know these things. And then the reality hit, oh my gosh, I am a businesswoman. I'm running this organization. It was an incredible moment. And I went, wow, if I die today, seriously. Who would have thought this girl who wanted to be a businesswoman, suddenly in her mid-40s, had raising her 2 sets of twins, plus another one, 5, juggling all of the busyness of life and a beautiful, gorgeous husband, and just sort of trying to work out how it all puts together, was suddenly running this organization. And once again, I learnt and I grew and I just approached it as, I'll just go and be a sponge. What can I learn of others? If I didn't know it, I'd research it, I'd find out. And once again, the organization was incredibly successful. And it was a wonderful time that I was just so grateful to have had the opportunity. I then had a really crazy thought, well, what if I'm only good in the not-for-profit sector? Because I'd then been in there for like a decade. And then I thought maybe corporates are much, better, it's grander. What don't I know? I wanted to sort of know that. So I went out consulting for a couple of years. And that was a really great experience. But it also showed me that people in the not-for-profit sector actually work super hard, because you've got to be a jack of all trades. You've got to work, I'll call it on the smell of an oily rag. You've got to make amazing things happen with not many resources and certainly not much cash. And so it actually allowed me to, in the not-for-profit sector, I loved it because I'm heart-driven, I'm for purpose, but it also allowed me to be a lot more creative. It did have benefits of being able to implement new opportunities for the organisation, which weren't sort of bogged down with a whole lot of red tape. So I enjoy the corporate time, and I also love the not-for-profit time. And then now I've been the CEO of an eye health charity in Australia for the last few years, and oh my goodness, I just get to help people save sight every day. It is such a joy. It's such a joy because we're making a really big difference with preventable blindness. And so I love having the responsibility. One, now I'm a super confident CEO. I'm very confident with what my skill set is, what my abilities are, my strengths and my weaknesses. I know how to delegate. I know how to cheer on a team and also keep them accountable. It is absolutely a dream job. Did the little girl when I was a childhood know what she actually was led to be? Absolutely. I knew I had skills. I knew I loved leaders. I knew I was fascinated. Why was I fascinated? Because it actually was in my heart, right? Why was I attracted to how people did things? Because I wanted to develop those skills. So sometimes I think we try too hard. We try to over-process things. If you've got a natural desire to learn or to explore new areas, I encourage you just to go and see where that develops. What I've also learned is that, we don't always know the destination, but we certainly know when we're in the ballpark. And so very much with the people that I coach, it's very much of tapping into, what's on your heart's desire, what's your natural gifts and talents, what's your, are you wanting to leave a legacy? Are you wanting to, achieve financial gains and lifestyle, or what is actually driving you and what is your heart's desire? And then also then giving them the skills and the resources to empower them. Why have I become an empowerment coach over the last few years? Because I wasn't empowered. I actually grew up in an era that women were so focused on trying to get themselves to that next level, they full on knocked you out of the way. They didn't encourage me. They saw me as a competitor. And I thought that's really sad, because after all these years now, 30 years in business, what do I know? I know that there is enough business for everybody. And I know that when we collaborate, particularly collaborate globally, we will always enhance each other. We don't need to see each other as competitors. If you are good at what you do, you will always shine. And we don't always have to be the best at everything. There are so many aspects, even in my coaching. If I get a client that has specific needs, I might go, you know what, you might be better working with, this person or that person for a reason. Or maybe they need to see a psychologist, or maybe they need a nutritionist. Maybe they need a wellness coach. I'm going to definitely help them grow in their personal and professional transformation. But, and my style, we're not everyone's cup of tea. What actually resonates with different people. So I have found that the more we adapt a attitude of appreciation for everyone's unique skill sets and their diversity and what they have to offer different people globally, and to be able to develop a network that encourages that. And that's a reason I did a couple of things in the last couple of years. I started a Facebook group called Women Collaborating Globally. And it is just such a joy that I've had hundreds of women all join in, and they're actually doing different businesses. Tell us what you're doing. What are you needing help with at the moment? How can I help you? Is there anything you need? How can I support people? I have a podcast as well called Memoirs of Successful Women, and I've had about 80 of these women on my podcast, and I've been on their podcasts, their TV shows. It's amazing. I'm talking like hundreds of countries now, exposure. It's been absolutely terrific. I had a biography written last year called Becoming Annie, the biography of a curious woman. And that's not a crazy title, is because I've shown what it is to be curious. And that biography has therefore been sort of put out through different groups through my networks as well. So we're all doing life together, but we're also doing business together, but we can do it in a way that actually doesn't threaten anyone. It doesn't damage anyone. It actually enriches everyone because we support each other, we grow together, we learn from each other. And that's a wonderful thing. And so I get so excited about helping women grow in their own self, who they are, their leadership style, definitely their confidence, confident to be, confident to explore new things, confidence to actually fail. And that's a huge, huge learning, all right? If I wasn't as confident as I was, and I'm very thankful that I had these natural tendencies that actually, and characteristics that just pushed me through. Or maybe I just was so exhausted looking after all these children. The idea of going to university and doing other things as a balance was a definite outcome. Whatever the desire, I actually think I'm so glad that I did have that confidence, because I'm also acutely aware from the amount of people that I've coached that so many people struggle at that moment. They'll have a strong desire. They'll have a thought that enters their head regularly. They entertain it. They get disappointed like I did. What a shame I can't have that opportunity. What a shame I don't have that skill set or that ability. All right. And their confidence doesn't kick in because life is hard. Many of them have been smashed, and life can be very, very brutal at times. We're not all surrounded by a cheer squad. And so what upsets me actually is when people then don't take that next step. Because what have I found over my business and life journey? Every single step was just an opportunity to get to the next summit, right? I'm a hiker, so I think in hiking terms, and then you get to the top and then you go, oh, there's another one. Suddenly I have a whole new view, right? And then I get to the next summit and go, wow, now I can connect with these people and those people. So for example, I got to the last summit, which is the CEO of Glaucoma Australia, which is an eye health charity. And I had the opportunity to have the patron of Glaucoma Australia become the Governor General of Australia. The highest person of the land is now our patron. I've been to meet him on a number of occasions, and it's been an absolute joy and an honour to have him as patron of our organisation. I've also had the opportunity to bring on a rock star, Kirk Pengilly, who is a band member from In Excess, and he also has glaucoma, and so he's been an incredibly valuable, beautiful ambassador for eye health for my organisation. Now, I would never have thought a few years ago Annie Gibbins would have the confidence, right, to just go and ask them, would you mind helping me save sight of this nation? I know you're a very busy person, sir, but all I'm asking you is to do this and that. I'll even help you. I'll write your scripts. I'll prepare everything for you. But would you be able to join with me in that way? And you know what? They've said yes. They've said yes. And it has resulted exponentially in the value of what I can do, my team can do, my board are overseeing, and what the Australian population receive. Suddenly, instead of thousands of people receiving a message, millions of people receive that message. It's incredible. It's life-changing. And I'm so proud that I have these opportunities. I'm thrilled for the people that I serve, but I've also learnt along the way. I'm so thankful that I have learnt to be bold, to dream big, to when people say no, when people now go, that's not going to happen. Now I go, you know what? You watch me. I will make that happen. Because why not? Now I'm at a stage in my life going, nothing's impossible. I have seen the most amazing things, which is why my coaching program is called Magic Transformation. I seriously think every bit of magic can happen. If you lean into it, if you have a heart's desire and you set up all the framework, and I'm telling you, there is hard work in there. There's dedication. You've got to be incredibly disciplined. But when you surround yourself with the right tribe, when you invest, you go and get that knowledge, you get those skills, you surround yourself with people who will empower you, you equip yourself with the necessary, and then the world explodes. We all have the opportunity to be more, achieve more, and earn more. And we also get to achieve success on our own terms. And that's why my podcast is called Memoirs of Successful Women, because we're all successful in our own way and in our own time and with our own circumstance. All right. If I was male and had maybe no children or a couple of kids back in the day, I probably would have just done an MBA and become a big businessman, banker, whatever. Right. But I wasn't. I got married at 20. Absolutely no regrets. Still beautifully, happily married at 33 years later. I had twins at 23. I had another set of twins at 25. I had a fifth baby at 32. I navigated 3 degrees in that time. Crazy busy juggling. But now what am I known for? I'm known as the transformation queen. Annie Gibbins can just make magic happen. She's just got this uncanny ability to just activate, make things happen, bring people on board, because why? Probably because when I was had all those kiddies at home and I really wanted to do that degree because I wanted to keep learning and keep improving myself, I had to be really focused. I had to work then from as soon as those kiddies got to bed, maybe 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock every single night, doing assignments, learning, reading, while I was feeding a baby, reading a journal on something, instead of watching TV. There were sacrifices. There was real discipline required, but no regrets. No regrets at all. So my message to you today, as well as having the opportunity to share my story with you, is to really dream big. Dream big, bold goals. Big, bold vision of where you want to be. You don't have to know all the details, but you need to know what area, what it would look like, what it would feel like. More importantly, I actually find it's a feeling. Success is a feeling to be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it, right? So dream big. If something is coming up in your heart, rather than be disappointed that you can't, believe that you can. And reach out to a global community of people who will help you, who will support you, who will cheer you on and also keep you accountable, because there's no reason why you can't achieve your dreams. And I wish you all the best for your future success.